So I'm going to show you guys today how Bitcoin can make it to $1 million in the next 3 to 6 months. Because although someone has bet $1 million that Bitcoin will make it to $1 million, you have to know how. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are, whenever you are. Thank you for watching my videos. My name is DaVinci Jeremy. I'm in the Pipe 5x5 standing here live in Dubai. I hope you are well today on this Monday morning after Credit Suisse got it bailed out by UBS. We won't be talking about that, but hey, this is just one of the many banks that have failed in the current crisis that has started for our financial system and is not over yet. Yes, we are closer to the end of our financial system than the beginning. It is coming to an end, and in fact, I had a Twitter space with 10,000 subscribers, and man, did that ever get heated? You got to listen to that. I'm going to try to provide the link in the description below for that particular debate because it was interesting. They thought that the financial system is going to go on forever and ever. You can't have a system where you have to have exponential growth forever and ever. It does come to an end, and I explained how it will come to an end in the smaller example. Now, with that said, we're going to be showing you at the end of the show how to trade Bitcoin and Ethereum because Bitcoin and Ethereum has done extremely well on the weekend. It's doing a little bit of a pullback, but it's nothing to worry about. Bitcoin is going a lot higher. All right, so let's jump right into it right now. But remember to head over to bybit.davincij15.com. You can deposit only $100, and you could actually do one trade, and you could actually earn $30 more to do some extra trades. So make sure you head over there and do that right now with my link davincij15.com. All right, okay, let's take a look. Bilaji says hyperinflation happening now makes $1 million bets on Bitcoin price exceeding $1 million in 90 days. That's insane. That's incredible. The issue when you think about that, right? When you think about Bitcoin going to $1 million in 90 days, right? You're thinking, well, hold on a second here. If I have Bitcoins the price is going up and it's constantly going up, I'm going to just start selling them, right, for dollars, and so I can buy something else, right? So I can pay off some debt, so I can do something with that, right? And that makes sense, right? Because you're not going to just hold on to Bitcoin digits, right? So that you can go, ooh, look how many I've got priced in dollars. You don't really care about that. You care about what it can buy. And so how could it go to $1 million? Because obviously there's going to be a lot of people selling them between here and $1 million. A lot selling, right? So that's the main question. But before I answer that question, I'm going to talk about why this person thinks Bitcoin is going to go to $1 million. If we take a look here, he says that the banking system has lied, right? They're saying that the depositors, they're all insolvent, right? And they haven't told you that, and it's based on the fact that when they take your money, you're an unsecured creditor, and in order for them to make some top money on top of that, they buy treasuries. It is the safest asset to buy, but they bought a lot when interest rates were lower, and so now if they sell them with interest rates higher, meaning how much the Federal Reserve has moved the interest rates, that they have to take a loss when they try to sell those bonds. So if they were earning only 1% and now the interest rates at 5% for those bonds, then they have to pay an additional 4% off the cost of the bond, or even more, in order to cover any deposits that you could take out and withdraw and put it to something else, to a bank, to take it to cash. And so the banks are hurting because of this, and so there's basically no way out if there's a certain large enough bank run. But however, there's the issue of the fact that the Federal Reserve can buy the treasury bonds at face value and not at a discount rate. So that means they don't lose any money. The Federal Reserve takes on the bond at the low rate in a swap line. Usually that's usually done on the swaps, right? They don't they don't have the swap line anymore. So they probably just, oh, well, we're just queuing ENS. So they're just buying up the bonds and holding it on their balance sheet until it matures, so that the Federal Reserve doesn't take any losses. Now, a lot of the banks have gotten a lot of their assets impaired, of course, as well, and so they can't sell impaired assets as well to the Federal Reserve. They can only sell treasuries and assets that are solid, and so we're seeing this unfold. So now, with that said, you want to know, how do we get to $1 million from this $27,000 level? This just seems absolutely impossible. But before I do, right, make sure you head over to bybit.davincij15.com. Right, you could earn up to a $30,000 bonus, trading bonus as well. Okay, now we have to ask the question, right? What would cause Bitcoin to move to $1 million? It means that for some reason, you and anybody else that owns Bitcoin doesn't want to sell it, or very few want to sell it for dollars. So then you'd ask the question, well, what would cause somebody to not sell it for dollars? That doesn't make any sense, right? So you have to think about what will cause that. Well, the only thing that would cause that is that the U.S. government froze dollar transactions outside of its country, which they can do. They can stop all dollar transactions outside of the country. And you've seen them cut off ramps with people with dollars to exchanges outside of the country, outside of the United States. All the exchanges, started with BUSD, right, getting cut off. Oh, you're a security, and so now you can't trade your BUSD into dollars back and forth. They haven't done it for Tether or Circle yet, but I expect that to come down the pipe sometime soon. And they also are slowly cutting off people from accessing U.S. dollars everywhere in the world. So you can see that this could possibly happen. And you're like, okay, but why would the U.S. government disable dollar transactions outside of the United States? It doesn't make any sense. They've never done anything like that before, but hold on. Let me play something for you, all right? And so to help you answer that question.
In the past 7 years, there's been an average of one international monetary crisis every year. Now, who gains from these crises? Not the working man, not the investor, not the real producers of wealth. The gainers are the international money speculators. Because they thrive on crises, they help to create them. In recent weeks, the speculators have been waging an all-out war on the American dollar. The strength of a nation's currency is based on the strength of that nation's economy. And the American economy is by far the strongest in the world. Accordingly, I have directed the Secretary of the Treasury to take the action necessary to defend the dollar against the speculators. I have directed Secretary Connally to suspend temporarily the convertibility of the dollar into gold or other reserve assets.
There you go. So what I'm saying is, they're basically, if this Dixie drops like crazy, like the ruble did during the war, you could expect the U.S. government to step in and, hey, rescue the day, say, hey, we got to stop all of these speculators, nasty speculators who destroyed all our banks, and we had to protect them by bailing them out because they wanted to destroy us by destroying our banks, and so we're going to bail them out and prevent them from losing all your deposits. Yeah, okay. So this is how they will come to an end, and Bitcoin will go to $1 million, because the reason why that will happen is every single currency is backed up by U.S. dollars, every single foreign currency. Because in order to do international trade, you have to have dollars. of commodities, any kind of commodity, you have to have US dollars. Thus, if they can't get dollars, they're going to want something else. They're going to want something more secure, something that they can trust, because now the system trust has broken down because the US has prevented you from using your US dollars. Temporarily, of course, temporarily. And so the best thing you can do is to use Bitcoin and trade it for other assets. So, for example, you might have houses or something like that, property, cars, whatever, that you could trade for Bitcoin and then use that Bitcoin to, pay for a shipment that's coming in, or pay for something international with Bitcoin. And that's how I see Bitcoin going to $1 million this year if it can do it. I don't see the hyperinflation coming that fast, because here's the thing: even if they gave people like $5 million, it's still going to take about 12 to 18 months for that to affect prices and things. I don't see that happening that fast. I don't see prices going crazy that fast right now. It could happen, but it's unlikely. And so they're going to, and if it does happen, then definitely they're going to freeze international transactions and default on their debt. They're actually probably going to everybody's going to take a haircut on their US dollar holdings and lose about 70%, just like they did, right? And if you don't believe that, right, got to remember the US government has done this before. Roosevelt changed the statutory price of gold from, it was $20.67 that he asked for. It was actually $20 per ounce, right? He called in the gold for $20.67 per troy ounce, and then revalued it at $35 an ounce. Thus, anybody owing the U.S. government money took a 70% loss on their gold, their debts, the bonds that they had given the United States. So this is going to happen again. We're going to see a massive revaluation of the U.S. dollar, and yes, that's going to create some turmoil. So you might ask, well, why don't they just use SDRs? And for those who don't know, SDRs, called special drawing rights, is a currency written and created in the 70s, right? That's used by the IMF, right, to as reserves for member countries and corporations, super mega corporations. So whilst the super mega corporations probably will be able to use SDRs, the average corporation will not. And so the mid-sized corporations will not. So they will need some sort of means to trade when the banking system has frozen up, and there will be huge turmoil in dollars. But it doesn't mean that the world's coming to an end. Just try to keep that in mind. It just means that currency will have a problem, right? It doesn't mean the world comes to an end. We'll still have ships, we'll still have planes, we'll still have boats, we'll still have your houses, the cars. You're just going to have problems trading your assets. That's it. And being able to function economically during that event. So it's not world ending. It's just a little bit of turmoil, a little bit of stress for a while, and then it will all fix itself. Don't worry, you will survive. You will get through this. It will hurt, but it's not the end of the world. Okay, with that said, we can see the Bitcoin has reached its target, actually, that I've been talking about for a while now. It broke above the rising wedge or megaphone pattern. Let me just go to daily and show you guys that auto fit. So yeah, we had this megaphone pattern here, and it broke above it, and it hit its target, the target that I was looking for, which is in the $28,000 range, and now it seems to be backing off. It is as we go lower into the lower time frames, you can see that I bet you we're having some divergences in the we have some divergences in the lower time frame, such as the 4 hour. You can see as price is going higher, the RSI is going lower. So you have to be careful here. Can Bitcoin break it through to 32,000? Now, according to some TA here, we can say that Bitcoin was on its way, right, to 32,000-ish, right, based on the fact that there's a little bit of a flag here, and it broke out. This flag takes us all the way to like 30, just over $30,000. But there's some significant resistance in this area, as you can see from the daily, and this resistance goes on forever. So you can see that we have to break through all that resistance before we see Bitcoin continue higher. So expecting a pullback is not a surprise here. Will we pull back to this rising support line, rising trend line actually, most likely, and then head to try again. But we could also see it try again right now. I doubt it. I think we'll probably pull up a little bit closer to the 61.8 or 7 or 38.2. Let's just see. Let's go down to a smaller time frame. You can see that this has exhausted itself, this downward movement. So it's not a surprise that it's reversing now. But you can see that most likely the 38.2 or the 61.8 is the target, right, to retest this area and then roll over. So if we can wait until this area comes and then take a look at what's happening at the price action, both at the 38.2 and 61.8, we could probably make a decision whether to go long or short based on what the price action is doing. All right, so, and if you want to do that, you could just head over to bybit.davincij15.com. Links are in the description below, as well as okx.davincij15.com as well. Right. Okay, let's get on to Ethereum. Ethereum is, it's pretty much doing the same thing Bitcoin has done. It is just consolidating near a bottom here, trying to decide to go higher or lower. Most likely, it's time for it to break higher because, it just exhausted all the sellers. But no new buyers are coming in like Bitcoin. Not a lot of buyers are coming into Ethereum. Oh no, it's actually failed to break above many times. Oof, that's bad. This rising wedge, and so it's gonna fail if it failed to hit above this rising trend line. Sorry. Wow, we can see this thing come back down quite heavy. Well, the 38.2 is the next support. This you can consider a little bit of support. Now let me just call it green. But once this fails, which is the $17.26 level, once the $17.26 level fails, you can see it head back down to 16.63 as the next possible support level, where we can see Ethereum try to regroup and head back up again. Okay, well, I hope you learned something today. It was an excellent discussion. I can't believe that that we are so close to the end of our financial system. It's almost surrealistic, but you see it, you can feel it with all the banks starting to collapse. Credit Suisse getting bought out by $2 billion. Doesn't it smell like Bear Stearns and Lehman Brothers 2008 all over again? That's what happened, right? Back then, Bear Stearns got bought out for $2 billion. We can expect that this is the beginning of the end, especially since the government, the president came out and said, "Hey, our banking system's fine. Nothing's wrong here. Nothing to see. Move along, people." This is not good. This is not good. We're going to see a massive failure in our system, like we've never seen before, and it will be extremely epic. All right, thanks for watching. Thanks for being here. Make sure you stay tuned next time for my next video. It's going to be awesome. All right, we'll talk to you tomorrow. Cheers.